right? So understand, if I'm about to go sign the contract, that's why the banks, when you sit down with dealership, they're gonna be looking at you. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. Because now you can articulate like, hey, I want a high APR rate because I know how to use the APR rate for the benefit of the principal. I don't care about a high credit score to get a low APR rate. I'm gonna go in there with that 420 credit score. Okay, I'm going there with that 420 credit score. And I'm gonna say, yes, I know I'm gonna have a high percentage rate. I want to have a high percentage rate. All right. If I can, I want at least a 90% APR rate. So that, because y'all gotta remember, where the money coming from? Where the money coming from? The application. So the money is not really coming from the bank. So when they understand, they're like, oh snap, this consumer wants to work with us to get us some money. You see what I'm saying? You gotta understand, like, I know some people don't know, well, I wouldn't even say just street business. You know, when you go in on something with your partners, you know, it make it cheaper. You know, and if y'all don't gotta use y'all money, you know, and everybody wins, you know, it's a successful transaction. Okay? So if I'm letting the banks know, like, hey, listen, I want y'all to put a 90% APR rate on there, okay? Give me 60%, y'all keep 30%. All right? And y'all send this over to the Federal Reserve. All right, go ahead and get the line of credit. We chop it down like that. All right? So y'all are good, my principal is good, and we go home, you know, eat with the family. Boom. How does that sound, Bank of America? How does that sound, Wells Fargo? All right. I've been doing some digging for some of y'all landlords. All right. Any of y'all landlords that have more than 7 tenants. Okay. These are some banks, especially in Florida, that have interest-bearing account for landlords to go deposit their tenants' rents. Bank of America is one, and Wells Fargo is one. So if you are a landlord in the state of Florida, okay, if you're a landlord in the state of Florida, okay, and you have over 6 to 7 tenants, all right, you can use it, and you might can be able to use them even if you have less than that. I don't know. All right, but I know for sure you have to have 7 plus units, okay, to do business with the window, which is a Federal Reserve window. But you still don't do business with those. You still do business through a bank, but you got to have 7 units. But some of the top banks in Florida is Bank of America and Wells Fargo that have interest-bearing accounts. So meaning if I'm a landlord, I can open up an interest-bearing account for my tenants in Florida at Bank of America, which those accounts will then accrue interest. All right. Now I can tell my tenants how to use that interest. Now I can say to my tenants, hey, if you make this a high APR rate, how about you throw me 30%? You keep 60%. All right. And I show you how you don't have to work no more. Comment if that makes sense. Comment if that makes sense. Okay, let me explain it again. All right, let me explain it again. If I'm a landlord, and I've never done this before, y'all, because I'm not a landlord. I just been doing my study and my researching, okay? And I'm looking at how would I do this if I was to become a landlord, all right? Y'all remember all that junk I was talking about landlords? It's because I didn't understand the landlord's position. I was like, it's more beneficial for a tenant. I don't see how the landlord can benefit in this. Well, duh, an uninformed landlord won't benefit in this. Just like an uninformed tenant won't benefit in this. You see what I'm saying? Both parties need to be competent. So if the landlord is competent, the tenant is competent, both parties can make money. All right? Easy. All right, so let me explain. So you got a landlord. All right, this landlord, especially in Florida, this landlord can take this consumer's application, open up their account at Bank of America or Wells Fargo, because those are the top 2 banks in Florida that has interest-bearing accounts for landlords to open up accounts for tenants. Okay, so those landlords can either go to Bank of America or Wells Fargo to open up interest-bearing accounts. You want it to be an interest-bearing account because now that security deposit that tenant gives you, now it accrues interest. Now, if you go to that tenant and say, hey, we can negotiate the APR rate, boom, boom, boom. All right. I hope I'm not giving too many bank secrets right now. I feel like I'm giving a lot right now. Again, y'all, I have not done this as a landlord. Okay. I have not done this as a landlord. I could be stepping into some deep waters right now. I don't know. All right. But I'm getting that feeling right now. Okay. Because I've never heard nobody talk about this. Nobody. Okay. No one. I ain't heard nobody talk about this. This is from me doing my research and understanding. I already knew it from the tenant's perspective, but now I'm looking at it from a landlord's perspective because I don't want the landlords to feel left out. Okay? I want both parties to eat. I want the banks to eat. I want myself to eat as well, but we got to make sure the principal is taken care of. Okay? So as a landlord, I might negotiate with my tenant. Hey, tenant, listen. All right, I can save you money and I can save you a stressful lifestyle. You don't got to work to pay this rent. All right, if you become competent of your agent duties, you become power of attorney. All right, you allow the APR rate to be high. Now imagine if I'm a bank and I say something like that to another folks and they were like, why would I want a high APR? You know, they gonna argue me down. They be like, you're a scumbag. You're a scum of the earth. Why would I want a high APR? I want to save money. I'm like, I know I want you to save money. But if we get the APR rate high, I can show you how to properly use the APR rate so you don't have to come out of pocket. You see how it's way beneficial for the tenant to be informed as well? Because if the tenant is not informed that a high APR rate is good, they going to want to what? Low APR rate. Okay? A low APR rate. So again, I have not done that as a landlord. That's just the way I would. All right? That's how I would do it. Okay? But so just imagine having a big ass, I'm about to give y'all a business plan. Again, I have not done this. My disclaimer, I have not done this, but this is just how I would do it. All right? Imagine getting a apartment building, right? Having 20 floors, having almost 300 units. Every single tenant, you go to them, ask the landlord and say, hey, we're going to do an 80% APR rate. I'm going to open up an interest-bearing account at Bank of America for you, okay? You need to have a power of attorney because I'm going to inform you on what you can do as the agent on behalf of the principal. We're going to have a high APR rate. Now, remember, I would tell all my 300 tenants this, okay? So then I'm coming and saying, hey, how about we have a high APR rate? Let's say 80% APR rate, okay? You keep 50, you give me 30%, all right? And this may be illegal. I don't even know if this is illegal. I don't see how it would be illegal because, you know, the landlord and the tenant is negotiating with each other. And the landlord is giving the tenant their disclaimers, meaning what you can do as the competent agent. Because if I ask you, are you 18 or older, and you say yes, I can assume that you're competent. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm taking advantage of you the wrong way. I'm taking advantage of you in the good way, meaning I'm assuming that you're competent, so now I can kind of let you know certain things. Instead of being a landlord trying to hide things, or being a bank trying to hide things from the tenant. Okay, so I would go with 300 of my tenants, say, hey, let's have a high APR rate. All right, you use 50% because 50% of the total amount is that plus 50%. It's meaning it's the regular amount plus 50%, meaning you're gonna get a 50% profit. I'm gonna get a 30% profit. All right, so I'm going to go open up this APR rate, open up this interest-bearing account at Bank of America. Okay, every 30 days there's going to be interest. All right, we just have to negotiate in the contract that you authorize me to get 30, you to get 50 if the APR rate is 80%. Now it could be anything. I'm just giving an example. All right? Negotiations, y'all. Negotiations. Now, as a tenant, now if I'm about to go get an apartment or a high-rise or penthouse in Florida, now before I open it up, now I can bring this to the table in the get-go. That sounds way better than, y'all don't get nothing. Everything's for me. It's mines. Sound like big-ass kids. You get nothing. It's mines. Like, hold on, wait a minute. We may have something here. Yeah, but see, if you say I keep 66, you keep 0, like I wouldn't do business with you. I would make it hard for you. And Miss Trish, that's how I would do it. Like, if somebody came to me and said, no, how about I get 60, you get 0? I'd be like, well, how about I just act like you're uninformed? How about I just make the process long for you? How about I just keep saying no and force you to sue me and force you to articulate yourself? You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure everybody gets a piece. All right, y'all got to understand business. A business works better when everybody eats. Soon as people stop eating, people start snitching. Okay,